Picture this: an expansive archipelago of more than 7,000 islands, where the bustling chaos of crowded megacities seamlessly blends with the serene beauty of lush rice terraces and the dazzling allure of white sand beaches. This, my friends, is the Philippines, a nation whose economy, much like its incredibly diverse landscape, is a fascinating tapestry woven with threads of stark contrasts and delightful surprises. Nestled right in the geographical heart of Southeast Asia, it stubbornly remains one of the most intriguing yet curiously overlooked nations on our planet. Not so long ago, perhaps just a mere decade, very few pundits or economists would have wagered on the Philippines truly catching up with its more visibly prosperous neighbors. Yet, hold on to your hats, because from 2010 all the way through to 2024, this plucky economy defied expectations, growing at a robust average rate of 5.26% per year. That's right, it wasn't just growing, it was outpacing. Economic giants like Thailand, Malaysia, and in some standout years, even Indonesia. And for a grand finale in 2023, the Philippines wasn't just participating. It proudly became Southeast Asia's fastest growing economy, leaving both Vietnam and Malaysia in its rearview mirror. Talk about a plot twist. As of 2025, the Philippines boasts a nominal gross domestic product teetering close to 500 billion United States dollars, an achievement that places it impressively at 32nd in the global rankings. It's also home to a staggering 115 million people, the vast majority of whom are young, brimming with ambition, and steadily migrating towards the vibrant urban centers. If you were to cast your gaze upon Manila's ever-evolving skyline today, you wouldn't just see the venerable old churches and the iconic, brightly painted jeepneys. You'd witness a forest of cranes, a glittering array of glass towers, and a symphony of non-stop construction. An undeniable, towering testament to just how far this country has truly come. But, and there's always a but, isn't there? Despite this undeniably impressive trajectory of growth, the nagging issue of income inequality persists, remaining stubbornly high, among the highest in the entire region. Let that sink in for a moment. The richest 1% of Filipinos control more wealth than the bottom 70% combined. It's a statistic that's not just alarming, but visually jarring if you've ever walked the streets of Manila. You'll see it with your own eyes. Opulent luxury condominiums and gleaming high-end shopping malls standing in stark, almost defiant contrast directly across the street from bustling local markets where countless individuals are simply trying to get by on less than 10 United States dollars a day. The average Filipino's economic output, sadly, remains roughly a third of the global average. A truly disappointing figure for a country so abundantly blessed with such vast and diverse natural resources. So how exactly did the sick man of Asia, a rather unkind label bestowed upon it during less fortunate times, manage to transform itself into the region's current bright spot? What potent fuel is driving this remarkably robust growth? Can the Philippines genuinely build the sort of sophisticated, competitive industries it needs to compete effectively on a global stage? And, perhaps most critically, what formidable challenges lie waiting in the wings for this dynamic nation in the coming decade? Let's peel back the layers. If you were fortunate enough to view the Philippines from a bird's-eye perspective, what would immediately strike you as its essence? A scattered, enchanting collection of 7,641 individual islands. While that number is mind-boggling, only about 2,000 of them are actually inhabited. Unlike its mainland Southeast Asian cousins such as Thailand or Vietnam, the Philippines is entirely enveloped by water, with the historically significant South China Sea to its west, the vast Philippine Sea to its east, and the warm Celebes Sea to its south. This incredibly fractured archipelagic geography, while stunningly beautiful, also creates some utterly fascinating and frankly exasperating economic challenges. Consider the logistics. Transportation becomes an incredibly complex and prohibitively expensive endeavor. The sheer cost of moving goods within the Philippines itself ranks among the highest in all of Southeast Asia. To illustrate the absurdity, shipping a single container from Manila, the sprawling capital, to Davao, the country's third largest city, can sometimes cost more then shipping that very same container all the way from Manila to bustling hubs like Hong Kong or Singapore. It's a logistical nightmare that would make even the most seasoned supply chain manager shed a tear. This unique island structure has, quite naturally, also dictated where Filipinos choose to live, shaping their demographic landscape. Manila, the capital region, is a veritable beehive, home to over 13 million people, making it one of the most densely populated urban areas anywhere on Earth. Meanwhile, vast swaths of other islands remain sparsely populated, often suffering from limited, if any, infrastructure connecting them to the vibrant economic mainstream. It's a tale of two Philippines, hyper-urbanized centers and vast, untapped hinterlands. Yet there's a silver lining to this geographical complexity. This archipelago sits squarely in a strategic sweet spot. It's precisely at the crossroads of major international shipping routes, acting as a crucial bridge between the colossal Pacific and Indian Oceans. This enviable position places it within easy reach of economic powerhouses like China, Japan, and indeed, some of the biggest and most dynamic economies across all of Asia. And that, my friends, is one very compelling reason why the Philippines has experienced a veritable surge in foreign direct investment in recent years. It now proudly ranks 13th on the Foreign Direct Investment Confidence Index for emerging economies, a respectable position it shares with other rising stars like Chile and Turkey. However, when we truly delve into the concept of foreign influence in the Philippines, there is one relationship, one historical entanglement that stands head and shoulders above all others. That of the United States of America. The significant United States business investments have meticulously forged a strategic partnership with the Philippine government, a relationship that has demonstrably evolved to address rapidly changing regional security dynamics. This evolution is particularly pronounced and critically important in response to the growing and at times alarming tensions in the South China Sea. Indeed, the relationship between the United States and the Philippines runs profoundly deep, a historical bond stretching back generations. It is meticulously built upon shared democratic values, a robust foundation of mutual strategic and economic interests, and undeniably strong, deeply personal people-to-people connections. In fact, numerous surveys consistently demonstrate that the vast majority of Filipinos overwhelmingly consider the United States to be one of their country's most trusted and reliable partners. For many decades, the United States has also served as a pivotal military ally. Ever since the signing of the Mutual Defense Treaty in 1951, the two countries have stood resolutely side by side through various global challenges, a testament to what is now America's oldest military alliance in the incredibly vital Indo-Pacific region. As of May 2025, approximately 9,000 United States troops are routinely stationed in the Philippines for Balikatan, which means shoulder to shoulder in Filipino. The joint military exercises held every single year. It's not just one of the biggest drills of its kind. It's a very public and deliberate display of force, and it's certainly not just for show. The steadily increasing United States military presence is strategically intended to push back, with increasing assertiveness, against China's own expansive territorial claims and actions in the hotly contested South China Sea. This significant United States military presence has also contributed quite substantially to local business and commerce, acting as a significant economic engine. At its historical peak, the sprawling United States bases in the Philippines directly employed around 70,000 local workers, making the United States, at that time, the second largest employer in the entire country, after only the Philippine government itself. Interestingly, despite the nuanced geopolitical context, surveys continue to show that a strong majority of Filipinos view the United States military presence in a generally positive light, often seeing it as a stabilizing force. But as with any complex issue, not everyone feels quite that way. Some Filipinos, especially vocal activists and nationalist groups, see it as a potential threat to their hard-won national sovereignty. Their grave concern is that this military entanglement could inadvertently drag the Philippines into a much larger, potentially devastating conflict between the United States and China. There have also been legitimate concerns raised over the years about the conduct of United States troops, including past incidents involving crime or allegations of abuse that have naturally stoked public anger and debate. And, not insignificantly, some segments of the population remain deeply uneasy about legal agreements, such as the Visiting Forces Agreement, that can at times appear to shield United States personnel from the full application of Philippine laws, creating a perception of unequal justice. Clearly, the Philippines maintains an incredibly multifaceted relationship with the United States on numerous levels: military, economic, cultural, and political. The big, overarching question, the one that keeps policymakers and analysts up at night, is whether this deep, intricate entanglement ultimately proves to be a gift or a curse for the archipelagic nation. Especially as the country increasingly solidifies its position as a key strategic player in the broader United States economic strategy for the Indo-Pacific. Think about it for a moment. This profound economic relationship stretches back more than a century. After the Spanish-American War in 1898, the Philippines became a territory of the United States and remained under American administration for nearly 50 years. During that transformative period, the Philippine economy wasn't merely influenced by the United States, it was fundamentally shaped, if not outright engineered by it. Industries, critical trade routes, and even the very structure of the education system were meticulously designed to align with American interests. And even after achieving its hard-won independence in 1946, those deeply entrenched economic ties didn't magically vanish. In fact, many economists argue that the country developed what's famously known as a path dependency, a phenomenon where past decisions, choices, and historical circumstances continue to profoundly shape and constrain future outcomes. And rather remarkably, it's a dynamic that is still visibly playing out today. Between 2013 and 2024, the United States stood as the fifth largest source of approved foreign direct investment in the Philippines, injecting around 3.6 billion United States dollars into the economy. That's approximately 7% of all foreign investment. But perhaps even more importantly, in 2024, the United States proudly retained its position as the top destination for Philippine exports, eagerly buying up a whopping 16.6% of everything the country sold abroad, a trade volume worth over 12 billion United States dollars. It's a relationship of immense economic significance, and the relationship is far from static. It's still dynamically evolving. Japan, the United States, and the Philippines recently made headlines by announcing the ambitious Luzon Economic Corridor, the very first major infrastructure partnership of its kind in the crucial Indo-Pacific region. The grand goal? To strategically connect key economic hubs like Subic Bay, Clark, Manila, and Batangas with coordinated synergistic investments in vital infrastructure such as roads, ports, clean energy initiatives, and even the incredibly critical semiconductor supply chains. This is not just about building roads, it's about building a future. Today, the Philippines is genuinely transforming into Asia's burgeoning economic bright spot, competing with newfound vigor against its traditional regional rivals. It has finally and thankfully shed its ignominious sick man of Asia reputation, a rather painful label acquired during the tumultuous economic collapse towards the bitter end of the Ferdinand Marcos regime in the mid-1980s. What many people, especially those outside the region, often fail to realize is that the Philippines wasn't always lagging behind. In the early 1950s, believe it or not, the Philippines was actually among the richest and most advanced countries in Asia, proudly second only to Japan in terms of per capita income. Manila, in those halcyon days, was a sophisticated commercial hub, boasting infrastructure that was quite literally the envy of the entire region. It was a golden age, a testament to what was possible. However, the tide tragically turned between the 1970s and 1980s, particularly during the authoritarian dictatorship of Ferdinand Marcos. During this dark chapter, the country was plagued by rampant, widespread corruption, deeply entrenched cronyism, and catastrophic mismanagement of the national economy. While its dynamic neighbors, the so-called Asian tigers of Singapore, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and South Korea, raced ahead with dizzying speed through rapid industrialization and aggressive export-driven growth, the Philippines tragically stagnated. It was like watching a race where one participant suddenly decided to take a very long nap. As its neighbors diligently built world-class manufacturing bases and cultivated internationally recognized brands, the Philippines found itself struggling mightily with inefficient political and economic systems, accumulating massive external debt that would burden generations, and enduring recurring economic crises that felt never-ending. For countless ordinary Filipinos, this grim period meant not just economic stagnation, but an actual painful decline in their living standards and overall quality of life. The dream of prosperity seemed to slip further and further away. The turning point, the glimmer of hope, finally arrived with the historic People Power Revolution in 1986. This momentous event, a true testament to the power of collective will, peacefully ousted the dictatorship and paved the way for a return to democracy. Although the subsequent economic recovery was initially slow and painstakingly uneven, fraught with its own set of challenges, by the 2010s the Philippines had finally gained enough sustained momentum to rightfully earn a new, much more optimistic nickname, Asia's Rising Tiger. Economic reforms, albeit gradual, began to take hold. Governance slowly but surely improved, and economic growth accelerated to impressive levels that genuinely caught the world's attention. It was like watching a phoenix rise from the ashes, slowly but steadily regaining its majestic form. So let's revisit that crucial question. How precisely did the Philippines manage to transform itself from the sick man of Asia into one of the region's most undeniably dynamic economies? It's a tale of resilience, ingenuity, and a few unexpected twists. From 2010 to 2024, the Philippines achieved truly impressive economic growth, averaging over 5.5% annually, an astonishing streak that remarkably continued unabated through various global financial turbulences and even the unprecedented challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic. Its gross domestic product per capita more than doubled during this period, soaring from 2,400 United States dollars in 2010 to over 4,300 United States dollars by 2025. This rising tide also lifted some boats as poverty rates thankfully declined from 23.5% in 2015 to under 17% today. Still a long way to go, but certainly progress. What's particularly remarkable, almost counterintuitive, is how the Philippines managed to achieve this rather unique growth. While many of its neighbors meticulously built their burgeoning economies around robust manufacturing exports, the Philippines, perhaps due to its geographical peculiarities and historical path, discovered a different, distinctly human-centric path, one predominantly based on its people, services, and a powerful engine of domestic consumption. It zigged where others zagged. Just take a look around the world. Walk through the sterile corridors of hospitals in Saudi Arabia, board luxurious cruise ships plying international waters, or step into the homes of affluent families in Hong Kong. And what do you find everywhere? Filipinos. The country has, in essence, exported its most valuable and abundant resource, its incredibly resilient and talented people. Over 10 million Filipinos, a staggering nearly 10% of the entire population, work overseas in a vast array of professions. As dedicated nurses, skilled seafarers, invaluable domestic helpers, ingenious engineers, and countless other roles that underpin global economies and societies. They are the unsung heroes of the Philippine economy, the true global citizens. These dedicated overseas Filipino workers send home a truly staggering 36.1 billion United States dollars annually, a sum equivalent to about 8.9% of the entire Philippine gross domestic product. To truly grasp the magnitude of this, consider this perspective. That colossal sum is more than the country earns from all of its top export industries combined. It's like having a gold mine that walks and talks and sends money home. But the Philippines isn't merely exporting its incredibly valuable labor, it's also rapidly becoming a global hub for digital exporting services. If you visit the gleaming modern office towers that punctuate the skylines of Manila, Cebu, and other vibrant urban centers, you'll discover hundreds of thousands of young, bright Filipinos who are quite literally powering the global digital economy from behind computer screens. The Philippines has, against all odds, blossomed into one of the world's leading business process outsourcing destinations. What initially started with relatively simple call centers has remarkably evolved into a sophisticated 30 billion United States dollar industry, providing a vast range of services including customer service, technical support, meticulous healthcare information management, stunning animation, immersive game development, and, increasingly, cutting-edge artificial intelligence-assisted services. It's a digital revolution happening right before our eyes. This burgeoning industry directly employs 1.5 million Filipinos and indirectly supports another 4.5 million jobs, now accounting for nearly 8% of the gross domestic product. And yes, their impressive English proficiency is certainly a significant part of this success. The Philippines ranks 20th globally on the English First English Proficiency Index, a full 6 spots ahead of France, and notably ahead of all its Southeast Asian neighbors except Singapore. The business process outsourcing industry has, without a doubt, completely changed the game for urban economies across the Philippines, and perhaps more importantly, helped create a brand new, upwardly mobile middle class. Workers in this dynamic sector often earn 2 to 3 times the national average, which in turn drives both consumer spending and crucial domestic investment. It's a virtuous cycle, at least for some. But here's the inevitable twist, the bitter pill to swallow. While this business process outsourcing boom is undeniably impressive and transformative, some experts quietly suggest it might also be inadvertently holding the country back. There's a growing school of thought that it's actually contributing to industrial stagnation. It's almost as if everyone now aspires to a white-collar job, sitting comfortably in an air-conditioned office, working diligently at a computer, while fewer and fewer young people are interested in the less glamorous but equally vital work of building tangible things, toiling in factories, or painstakingly developing local, homegrown industries. It's a symptom of success, perhaps, but a concerning one nonetheless. Because the Philippines is, by its very nature, an archipelago with genuinely limited contiguous land to work with, it faces some incredibly tough, almost inherent, challenges when it comes to industrial development. A significant portion of the vital infrastructure needed to seamlessly connect these thousands of islands is either woefully underdeveloped or, in many places, simply doesn't exist at all. This glaring deficiency makes it incredibly hard, almost Sisyphean, to build large-scale manufacturing hubs, or to create the kind of smooth, efficient supply chains that are the lifeblood of modern industrial economies. Unlike its mainland neighbors such as Vietnam or Thailand, where you can develop massive, interconnected industrial corridors that stretch for hundreds of kilometers, the Philippines just isn't geographically built that way. Its very geography alone makes large-scale manufacturing and efficient, cost-effective transport incredibly tough to pull off. It's a constant uphill battle against nature itself. If you were to peruse the prestigious Fortune Global 500 list, the ranking of the world's largest companies by revenue, you would, rather surprisingly, not find a single company from the Philippines. And that's genuinely surprising because the country boasts a large, young, and increasingly educated population, coupled with a robustly growing economy. But when it comes to spawning globally competitive firms, it still lags noticeably behind regional peers like South Korea, Taiwan, and even Thailand, which have successfully cultivated their own multinational giants. A significant, often heartbreaking reason for this is the phenomenon known as brain drain. The Philippines continues to tragically lose a steady stream of its most highly skilled professionals, dedicated doctors, compassionate nurses, brilliant engineers, astute information technology experts, and visionary business leaders who reluctantly leave their homeland in search of better pay, more advanced opportunities, and often simply a higher quality of life abroad. Yes, their collective remittances, those billions of United States dollars sent home each year, undeniably help keep the economy afloat, acting as a crucial financial safety net. But the long-term cost of this exodus is absolutely huge. Fewer innovators to drive progress, fewer visionary leaders to guide industries, and vast critical talent gaps that plague key industries and sectors across the nation. It's a slow bleeding of potential. This complex mix of formidable geographic challenges and the persistent, debilitating brain drain has, almost by necessity, pushed the Philippines towards an economic model that is overwhelmingly consumption-driven. And in many ways, it makes a certain kind of sense. The country is incredibly young, really, really young, with a median age of just 25.7 years. That demographic reality translates into a massive population eager to spend, and increasingly, more and more people now have the actual means to do so, thanks to the business process outsourcing boom and remittances. Just walk into any of the country's 230-plus shopping malls, Yes, the Philippines is truly the undeniable mall capital of Asia, a shopper's paradise on steroids. And you'll see it with your own eyes. A vibrant, bustling, consumer-driven culture on full, uninhibited display. And surprisingly, this model has proven remarkably resilient, especially during global economic downturns. When the 2008 financial crisis harshly impacted export-heavy economies like Thailand and Malaysia, sending them reeling, the Philippines, almost miraculously, kept on growing. Why? Because nearly 75% of its gross domestic product comes directly from domestic consumption, one of the highest rates in all of Asia. It seems Filipinos love to shop, and that, oddly enough, keeps the lights on. However, as with everything in the intricate world of economics, there is always a trade-off. This powerful consumption-driven economy has, quite predictably, led to persistent trade deficits. The Philippines consistently imports more than it exports, to the tune of around a 5 billion United States dollar deficit each year, which is a rather substantial trade gap to fill for an economy of its size. It's a delicate balancing act, requiring a steady stream of foreign currency from remittances and investments to cover the difference. As countries grow and evolve, robust and transparent institutions are absolutely essential to support sustainable, equitable development. The Philippines certainly possesses a talented workforce and invaluable global connections, but other more insidious forces are undeniably at play. Forces that could potentially threaten economic stability far more profoundly than mere market competition. Corruption in the Philippines is not some whispered rumor. It's an open secret, deeply entrenched across many layers of government and business, a pervasive sickness in the system. The country ranks a rather dismal 114th out of 180 countries in Transparency International's Corruption Perceptions Index, significantly below the regional average. It's a score that screams for reform. From the blatant misuse of public funds to old-fashioned kickbacks and outright bribes, corruption acts as a corrosive acid, making it far less likely for domestic industries and local businesses to receive the vital support they need to thrive and grow. This is especially damaging in a country where public trust in government institutions is already, tragically, quite fragile. The Philippines also ranks a rather unimpressive 95th in the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business Index. Starting a business here navigating the labyrinthine bureaucracy and opaque regulations can truly test even the most determined entrepreneur's patience and resolve. It's not just a hurdle, it's often a brick wall. If the Philippines can genuinely get its endemic corruption under control, harnessing its abundant natural resources could truly help drive real, inclusive development. But only, and this is the crucial caveat, if it's backed by serious, systemic reforms in governance and a renewed commitment to transparency. The raw potential is there, waiting to be unleashed, but it requires a clean house. Ultimately, the pivotal decision lies firmly with the Filipino people and their elected leaders. But what's truly at stake here reaches far beyond the country's 7,641 islands. In a world hungrily searching for viable, sustainable growth models that can uplift entire populations, what happens here in the Philippines will be watched closely, meticulously analyzed, and perhaps even emulated. After all, the Philippines has already surprised the world once, miraculously rising from the ignominious depths of being labeled the sick man of Asia to becoming one of Southeast Asia's most dynamic and promising economies. The next transformation towards truly shared prosperity, genuine industrial strength, and a society free from the shackles of corruption could be even more powerful, more impactful, and ultimately far more inspiring. The script for this exciting next chapter is still being written.